Welcome to Discover Virginia, the podcast that takes you behind the scenes of the incredible people, businesses, and stories that shape the Hampton Roads and Virginia community. Each episode, we sit down with local entrepreneurs, creatives, and change makers who are redefining what it means to live, work, and also play in this region. Now, let's explore, connect, and discover Virginia.
Dinnie In. Good morning, afternoon, evening, everyone, and welcome to the Discover Virginia podcast. Hello, everyone. I am your host, Dinnie In Virginnie, and I will be your Chesapeake constituent on the Discover Virginia podcast. So basically, today we will be discovering a little bit about Chesapeake that you may or may not have known about. So the great thing is that I'm just kind of tagging in for Joe because the Discover Virginia podcast has actually expanded, because I remember back in the day when I first came up here, we were discovering Virginia Beach. And now since then, we have discovered all of Virginia. And so Virginia is a big, big place, in case you didn't know. And one of the places in Virginia is the city of Chesapeake. And I will be covering the city of Chesapeake here on this podcast because I come from Chesapeake and I love living there. And I would love to shine more of a light on the city of Chesapeake, because to me, Chesapeake will always be the peak of excellence. And so basically, my role here as the Chesapeake constituent is to shine as much of a light on the city of Chesapeake as possible. But the great news is that this is Discover Virginia, right? But this is actually not just about me, not just about you, but it's about us and discovering what we can about the great, great city of Chesapeake together. So this is not going to be me spouting a bunch of facts to you guys, because to be honest, facts kind of bore me. That's not how I roll. So it's not going to be a bunch of just like, Chesapeake was founded in the year 1963, January 1st, blah, blah, blah. We're not going to do a bunch of that. So don't worry, you guys. This is actually going to be an actual discovery. And so I don't know a lot. That's the wonderful thing, is that what you don't know, I probably don't know as well. And so this is kind of a journey that we're going to be on together. And that as I'm learning things, you're going to be learning things. And honestly, you're probably going to teach me some stuff that I don't know about Chesapeake. So this episode is going to be a very general episode. And we're just going to cover like, what exactly are we trying to discover about Chesapeake, Virginia? Because Chesapeake has been around. It's actually not that old of a city. It's fairly fresh, to be honest, only a few decades old. And so we just want to know, what exactly are we discovering about Chesapeake in the first place? Why are we even embarking on this journey? So for those of you who might not follow me on social media, I hail from Chesapeake. I am Dinnie In Virginnie. So I go by Dinnie. I live here in the great, great state of Virginia, and I hail from Chesapeake. And so over the past year and a half, I've been referring to Chesapeake very lovingly as the peak of excellence. So one of the things that we intend to discover about the city of Chesapeake is, why exactly is Chesapeake the peak of excellence? And that is not something I'm going to tell you straight up, because it's not just one thing, right? It's going to be a series of things, whether it be the people, whether it be the parks, the recreation, the malls, the shopping, desserts, food, whatever it might be. There's going to be so many different aspects that we're going to actually try to discover about the city of Chesapeake that makes it the peak of excellence. Now, I will admit, back in the day, I was a little prideful, and I was like, we're going to be the best city in the world. We're going to be the best city in Hampton Roads. We're going to beat all the rest of the cities. And that's what I thought the peak of excellence was going to mean for us here in Chesapeake. And having since reflected on the error of my ways, I know now that we must be humble in order to be a better community. And so I don't think that way anymore. I'm not thinking in terms of we must be the best, we must be number one. And instead, I'm hoping that my fellow Chesapeakeans join me in trying to achieve that culture of the peak of excellence, in which the peak of excellence is not being number one, it's not being the best, it's just about raising our standards. It's about being better than we were yesterday. It's about just step by step, inch by inch, getting better and better and better, and raising our standards each and every single day, just being a better Chesapeakean, being a better person, being a better community, just being a better city each and every single day than we were the day before. And that is what we're going to discover about the peak of excellence. What else are we going to discover about the peak of excellence? Obviously, there's so many different things and different avenues that we can go into. So one of the things that I'm hoping that we can get more people on the podcast for is the local businesses / entrepreneurs / maybe even some content creators like myself. So I am very, very, very excited to start embarking on the journey of discovering who in Chesapeake is doing business right, and maybe even who's doing this wrong? Who knows? The point of the Peak of Excellence is to raise our standards. And so we are actually open to both the pros and the cons. We are not perfect people, okay? We are the first to acknowledge we are not perfect, but we can have a higher standard. And so one thing that I'm really looking forward to discovering about Chesapeake is like individual entrepreneurs or like groups of people, or maybe even content creators who are out here just really truly representing Chesapeake to a T. Like, they are about excellence. They are about pursuing excellence, serving excellence. We are consuming excellence. We are giving excellence to the public, and we are a very loving culture. So I cannot wait until some of my fellow Chesapeakeans who own businesses step up and would be willing to talk to me on this podcast. And don't worry, this is an open invitation to any of you guys who might be listening, who might be watching, who own a business in Chesapeake. I am very eager to talk to you. It is not going to be a grill session, okay? I'm not going to try to get into the depths of who you are as a person. It's going to be really chill, and you're not going to be anxious at all, because I'm going to take all the anxiety from you, okay? If anything, I'm going to be the social anxiety one, okay? So you're going to be chill. I might not be, but it's going to be okay, and we're going to have a great time discovering why you are in Chesapeake, how you came to be in Chesapeake, and what are you doing in this great, great city. And so I am excited to start that journey with some of you business owners and entrepreneurs out there. And I'm secretly hoping that there are some unknown content creators out there in the great city of Chesapeake who are just like cranking out content that I don't even know about. And I myself am kind of a Chesapeake influencer in a sense. And so that's definitely something I am looking forward to spreading to the world, is like, I know you're out there. I know you're out there. You can't hide from me. You can't hide from me. None of you can hide from me. And so I just want to make it very clear that you got to start coming out of the works, right? You can't just be doing the secret work all the time. It can't always be secret. We want to shine a light on you. And so this is the perfect platform for you guys to come on, be yourself, be genuine, be authentic. And we're just going to talk about the pros, the cons, where are you at right now? What are something that you have to overcome? And like, how can we overcome it? And like, why are you in Chesapeake? Why do you stand for Chesapeake so much? So I'm looking forward to talking to some of you entrepreneurs, business owners, solopreneurs, and content creators, secret content creators, because I've been looking and I haven't found y'all, but I know you exist. So I can't wait to talk to you guys. And remember, this is an open invitation. Please contact us, because I want to talk to all of y'all. Next, what else can we discover about the city of Chesapeake? Obviously, what are we going to eat? What are we going to nom? You know, what are we going to eat? What are we going to drink? That is definitely an avenue that I am not a professional at. I am not a foodie. I have not been a foodie, and I never will be a foodie because it costs a lot of money, to be honest. But I know for a fact I have seen foodies in the area exploring the city of Chesapeake, and I know we've got some good food out here. So that's definitely a door that has to be open, and we have to research what options do we have to eat here in the city of Chesapeake? What are some great options do we have to eat? What are some great options do we have to drink? I know for a fact we got some coffee options, because I've been on that City of Chesapeake website, and they have a whole article dedicated to all the coffee shops that you can hit up in the city of Chesapeake. So I am actually personally looking forward to figuring out where are the best noms in the city of Chesapeake, because as someone who I pretty much stay away from the food scene, there's so much about the food scene that I do not know about personally. And also, I would absolutely love to discover and see if there are any Chesapeake focused foodies out there. I've seen a lot of foodies going around Hampton Roads in general, but I haven't seen too many people who predominantly focus on the peak of excellence. So it'll be really, really interesting to see if, as we discover more and more, as we talk to more business owners, as we go to more restaurants, as we discover more places to drink and chill and relax and have coffee and be merry together, it'll be interesting to see if there are actually other content creators out there who are focusing purely on Chesapeake, and they've actually done the work for me, which would be I'd really appreciate it if you would reveal yourselves now, because if you've already done the work, there's no point in me double dipping, pun intended, because we're talking about food. But anyway, I digress. I am really looking forward to all of the good eateries that we have here in the peak of excellence, especially when it comes to like specials. Because if you're like me, sometimes you're in a stage of life in which you're just balling on a budget. And when you're balling on a budget, sometimes you get sick of Taco Bell and McDonald's and Wendy's and Burger King. And so I cannot wait to discover all of the like local specials that they have going on that helps entice the community to actually eat local and not so much with the fast food and the corporate all the time, you know, because we want to start supporting more of our local businesses. And one of the great ways to start supporting local businesses is to start to investigate like, oh, maybe I'll try them on this special day. Because I understand sometimes we know what we like and we like what we like. And it's very difficult for us to change what we like. And we're afraid to try something new. But when it comes to discovering the eateries of Chesapeake, I think one thing that's really going to help get the community out there and actually willing to try something new, try something local, and get away from the Taco Bell is that they will probably be more likely to try it if they have specials going on. So I'm trying to find a lot more local specials in Chesapeake because I don't know about y'all, but if I see a good wing special or something, I'm heading on wing day, okay? If I see a good special for a sandwich or a burger, I'm going on special day, okay? And you know what that means? I save money so I can spend more money. So I'm really looking forward to exploring some of the eateries and the drink options that we have here in the peak of excellence. What else could we possibly discover about the peak of excellence, you might ask? Well, let me tell you, obviously, this one is close and dear to my heart. We can discover a lot about Parks and Rec in the city of Chesapeake. Now, for those of you who've been following me for a while, you may or may not know, but I pretty much got my start as Dinnie In Virginnie as a Parks and Rec junkie. And so I pretty much started because I was in my home, working from home, and I would stay indoors for most of my life. And then I woke up and got sick of it. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are outdoor places to go to and explore. And so what I just did was I would just pick a park. I would go, I would explore, I would have a great time. And I'd be like, wow, I think I lost calories today. And so I cannot wait to explore the Parks and Rec that we have here at Chesapeake because we actually have quite a few really good options. For those of you who have dogs, pet owners, definitely very, very dog friendly in the peak of excellence. I think pretty much almost every park is dog accessible. Chesapeake City Park, for example, even has 2 dog parks, one in the front and one in the back. So definitely people who have dogs and pets and stuff and you like to go for walks, Chesapeake is a very Parks and Rec friendly city. And so I'm not going to say when they're going to come, but I'm going to put it in the air that eventually we will get somebody from Parks and Rec to come up here. If not Parks and Rec, at the very least, I'm praying that Chessie the Bear can sit here and talk to me and we can get deep when it comes to what's really going on with Parks and Rec in the peak of excellence. Now that is going to be a great episode. So if you guys could do me a little favor and say, Parks and Rec, hey, FYI, there's a podcast out there, kind of wants you guys on there, I'd really appreciate it. But yeah, Parks and Rec is definitely something that's going to be explored in depth when it comes to Chesapeake because we have so many wonderful options. We even just got a new park. It's a very tiny park, but we just got a new park called the Blue Heron Landing Park. And it is just like a nice hidden gem, definitely on a bucket list of things to do in Chesapeake. And I'm just excited to explore all the little different secret hidden gems, as well as all the little secret like things that you don't think about doing at a park. Like, for example, found a new hobby in Chesapeake for me was nature photography. Who knew going on walks in nature would encourage you to take nature photography? And who knew that nature photography can actually be quite therapeutic? And so that's the kind of discovery that we're trying to get here on the Discover Virginia podcast when it comes to Chesapeake is kind of discovering new things about yourself, not just new things in Chesapeake, but discovering new things about yourself that come about from doing things in Chesapeake like that. New hobbies, new interests, because a lot of the times we get stuck and trapped in the same mundane day in, day out routine. We wake up, we go to work, we feed ourselves, we watch TV, we go to bed, and we rinse and repeat over and over and over again. But there's so much more to life. There's so much more to the peak of excellence. There's so much more to you and your life within the peak of excellence to explore. We're just hoping that you yourself take it upon yourself to actually go out there and discover Chesapeake for yourself. And so Parks and Rec is just a really good launching point to discover something that you might not have even known about yourself. For example, I was not a nature girly, still is not a nature girly. You ain't gonna catch me out there on the regular now, okay? You're not gonna catch me on a hike. But I found out that I do like to go for a stroll in a park. It's very nice, it's very comforting. You can put on some really nice music, or actually, a nice tip that I have for you guys is if you go for a stroll at a park, no music, no nothing, just your thoughts, just bring a notebook, write down some notes, whatever thought comes into your mind, and then who knows, you might be a secret poet. And so not only are we discovering wonderful things about Chesapeake, we're also discovering wonderful things about you. So I'm really looking forward to diving down deeper as to what type of things can you do when it comes to Parks and Rec in the city of Chesapeake? And what else can we talk about when it comes to discovering Chesapeake, Virginia, the peak of excellence? I would say one thing that's important that we don't really talk about is what does it actually take to be a Chesapeakean, right? If our standard is raised, if we're trying to raise our standards each and every single day, what does it take to be a Chesapeakean? What is it like to actually live here? I'm really looking forward to talking to some of you guys and discovering, like, what is your experience living here in Chesapeake? Because my experience has been pretty darn good for the multiple decades that I have lived here. But I understand, like, I am not everyone. Everyone has a different experience when they're living here. So I would love to get the different perspectives of, like, different Chesapeakeans, because we have a lot of land. In case you didn't know, Chesapeake, we got a lot of land. We got a lot of parking. That is Chesapeake. We are land and parking, the land of parking, if I would like to call it personally. And so it's just like, what does it take to live here, right? What are some of our trials and tribulations, and what are some of the things that we really appreciate about living here? For example, like, there are certain places in Chesapeake I just feel like really safe. Like, it doesn't matter what time of night or what time in the morning I'm out there, I feel super safe in those zones. Stuff like that, where it's like, you'll only know if you're talking to a local. You're not going to know if you're on vacation. You're just kind of like zooming in and zooming out. And so I'm just looking forward to kind of diving deeper as to what does it take to live in Chesapeake. I'm talking like you live here. I'm not talking you're passing through, right? I'm talking you actually, this is your everyday. This is your standard. You are the standard. So what does it take to live in the peak of excellence? It doesn't take very much as far as I'm concerned. Personally speaking, it's not really taking that much effort to live here. I enjoy living here. I know there are a lot of other people who enjoy living here. But like I said, we are not a perfect city. So there are going to be some pros, there are going to be some cons, and I would like to discuss all of them. So I'm going to wrap up actually on one of the cons that we are going to fight. I will fight you on this, because it is something that people have told me about Chesapeake pretty much all my life. And it's something that even I have said about Chesapeake in the past. And I will fight you, because that is what this podcast is all about. We are going to fight stereotypes when it comes to the peak of excellence. And the number one stereotype that I get when it comes to Chesapeake, Virginia, is that we are boring. I'm gonna fight you. And I'm gonna fight you, because I am so tired of y'all talking about this to me, okay? You're really gonna talk about this to me? A Chesapeakean to my face? You're gonna talk about there's nothing to do. I'm so bored. There's nothing to do in Chesapeake. Well, that's why we're here, okay? We are going to discover so many wonderful, beautiful, fun things for you to do, fun, clean, just family-friendly things for you to do that maybe you just never thought of because you've been stuck in that routine, or maybe because you assume your definition of fun or things to do has been XYZ this entire time, but we actually had ABC. So I just want you guys to open your mind a little bit and realize that fun comes in a spectrum, all right? So what is fun to one person might not be fun to another, but because we're always in these routines, we think that fun might be partying, fun might be clubbing, fun might be drinking, fun might be blah, 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 blah. But at the end of the day, for example, for me, fun is taking a really good picture of a flower. That is fun to me. Losing myself in a park on a walk, that is fun to me. Getting just like the most perfect, pristine picture of the fall leaves reflecting in the water, that is fun to me. And that is the type of stuff that I want you guys to open your hearts and open your eyes to when it comes to exploring and just living in the peak of excellence. So I just want you guys to just broaden your spectrum a little bit, just open your eyes and like, be more open of a person. And I need you guys to immediately get in the right mindset of there is something to do. So the second you say there's nothing to do, you are correct. There's nothing to do because in your mind, you've already chosen. You've already set the path. There's nothing to do. So it doesn't matter what I even tell you because you're going to be like, well, there's nothing to do. And I'm going to be like, well, there's X, Y, Z. And you're going to be like, no, there's nothing. I see nothing. And so I need you guys to open up your minds and just get the mindset right and just start shifting to the mindset of there is always something to do in the city of Chesapeake. There's always something to do. You just have to find it. And on this podcast, we are going to discover ways to find things to do. We're going to discover places for you to visit. We're going to discover so many things for you to do. You're going to have a whole new problem and you're going to start saying, there's too much to do. I can't choose. And that is a wonderful thing. So I hope you guys enjoyed this episode of the Discover Virginia podcast. I hope you will join me in discovering all we can discover about the peak of excellence, Chesapeake, Virginia. I'm your host, Dinnie In Virginnie, and I hope to see you next time. Bye.